Good morning. How was everyone today? I'm Tracy Prachi with the RCAW. Thank you for participating in our Lunch and Learn. We have Greg Bjornson from GAF here, who's the Finance Director. He's going to be talking about all things payment and finance. It's really going to be a great time to listen and learn about all the programs that GAF has to offer, as well as how to present financing to your customers. We will have a question and answer time at the end, as we always do. Please use the Q&A box to type in any questions that you have. It's down in the bottom bar of your screen. And also there'll be a poll at some point as well, and let Greg let you know when that's going to be available for you. So at this point in time, I'm going to welcome Greg to the screen, and I am going to head off and let him take over. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Tracy. Hello, everybody. I want to say, can you hear me okay? Let's maybe go to the chat box, just double check, see if you can hear me okay. Put down your spoon. There you go. Thanks, Donovan. Put down your spoon or your fork if you're eating lunch. But I'd like to say good morning. I guess it's afternoon here in sunny San Antonio, but I sure appreciate the opportunity to share some insight and thoughts on some of the things that we're going to talk about today. You know, I tongue in cheek and say this, I didn't invent any of this, right? But, you know, I've got a little bit of experience when it comes to kind of how all this works. And at the end, if you are a master elite or certified here with GAF, you'll have the opportunity to get care credits. So be mindful of that. We'll walk through that. But, you know, payments and power payments, options, all these different things, right, is sometimes a challenge for us as contractors. But I think when I go over some of this stuff, some of it would be like, I get it, right? But I think you're closer to it than you actually think you are in going to another level, right? I'm not expecting you to be 100% options with payment options or financing, but it's a way to incrementally move the needle, okay? And so hopefully I can maybe hit you here a little bit, right? So this starts to think differently. Now you may be completely versed with it and maybe there's one little nugget, but at the end of the day, I don't expect you to be 100% financing, but you need to start thinking through that. So here's what we're going to try to cover today. This is our vision, really why payment options, what's going on. We're going to look through the lens of the homeowner, because I think if you do that, you're going to have a better understanding why you need to do some things differently potentially in your business. And like I said, you're not that far off. It's just simply doing some things here strategically. What are some of the benefits? I'm going to talk about benefits for you, benefits for the homeowner, right? Because the homeowner wins, who wins next? It's going to be you. And then we'll talk about some technology. I guess what I'm saying there, if you're using some financing or things of that nature, I'm not expecting you to change what you're doing. Thank you. Continue on, get better. Okay. And then also, if there's some questions, throw it in the chat box. We'll kind of keep our eyes on that. Tracy's going to help me with that. Before we dive into things, I want to start with a poll. So Tracy's going to help me out, and we're going to start with a poll. And now we have an intimate group here, so there might be an opportunity where we can unmute some microphones and have a dialogue on certain things when we get to that point. But I want Tracy, if you can drop that in there, just hit show the poll. There we go. So go ahead and take a second and answer that question, right? Do you presently offer financing to your customers? Is it yes or no? So go in there and just hit that. You guys seeing that? Did it come up on your side?
It's definitely up, and we are getting votes.
Okay, good. Good, thank you. So just kind of when we get to, you know, a certain point, I know we don't have a super large group, but you go ahead and publish the results, and we'll kind of take a look at what some of the answers.
Okay. Right now, 57% offer financing and 43% do not.
Okay. So perfect. So here's the good news with that, right? So majority of you are going down this road. So this is good, right? When I had these questions or this type of poll 2-3 years ago, it was nowhere near that, right? Oh, here we go. So this is good, right? So some yes, some no, and that's okay. But the good news is it's starting to move in the right direction. I firmly believe that if we're all a little bit better in this world of payment options and financing, you know, it's kind of goes back to the rising tides, right? Raises all boats, right? And I firmly believe that. And we're going to get into some of the benefits of that and take a look a little bit clearly, so you have a better understanding of that as well. So thanks for doing that. But let me ask you, for those that said yes, so once you go to the chat box, again, you have to put your spoon or fork down if you're eating lunch for just a second. So those that said yes, right? And I'm not here to pick on the ones that said no, but for those that said yes, do you offer financing every single time to every single opportunity to your homeowner? Go in there, yes or no. Are you offering it every single time to every single homeowner? That's the question. Thanks, Don. Thanks for being upfront, right? And Don says no, and that's okay, right? I see sometimes where, well, I only do it when they ask. And so we're going to walk through some of that. Anybody else that maybe offered it or said they offer financing, but kind of just picks and chooses when they want? Go to your chat box and type that in. Because you're not alone, right, Don? You're not alone in that answer, in that question. And what our goal is just kind of maybe strive for that. And then, you know, it's kind of one of these things, be careful what you ask for, you just might get it, right? So as we look at some things into some of the no's, there are roadblocks, and I get this. I've done this so many times, I could probably predict what would some of the answers be. Here's some of the ones that I hear consistently. It's too complicated. Gosh, Greg, I don't understand this. Customers don't ask for it. Well, it's because you're not, you know, talking about it, right? There is that. And then let's be real. You've been successful without it. And I completely understand why upset something that's going in the right direction. But I also say, well, and you can break through these things because you have, you're closer to it than you actually realize, especially those that said yes, but then said, no, I don't offer it every single time. And those that said no, we're going to get you there. We're going to help you. Because why you need to look through the psychology of the consumers, because one, I can't read minds. Now, I spent 10 years selling in the home. I know what it's like to be a contractor and go down these roads. I assure you, I skinned my knee just like anybody, but I know I could never read the minds of a homeowner. I could only simply ask questions to get a better understanding of what they want, right? And then it's my job to make sure I help them understand what's available. And it's not about really all your yeses, right? Keep those yeses. I want to enhance those yeses. We'll talk about that. But it's the no's that you're getting in your business that are the challenge. Now, I'm not going to say that you're going to go from 3 million to 6 million or 1.5 to 3. That's not what this is about. It's incremental improvement. And if I could maybe have the same opportunities that I had the year before, but I offered some things that could help them buy a little bit different and buy a little bit better, that's a win for them, one, and then me too, right? Because I'm doing more with the same amount or potentially even less. Because when you get the no, typically with John and Mary and the homeowner, it's, Greg, your price is too high. I got to get 3 more bids, you know, et cetera, et cetera. We've heard them all. But what if you're getting a no and you never even got a chance to hear it? And what my point is they went to your website, didn't see that you had payment options or financing, and they move on to the next contractor. I assure you that's happening in your business today. Is it enough to maybe move the needle for you to react? That's for you to decide. But I assure you, you're losing opportunities just simply by looking at it that way. So when I say that, there's different types of buyers. So go to the chat box, help me out here. When you go to the chat box, I want you to say, what kind of buyers or types of buyers are there, right? When they come to buy, there's what types of buyers that you run into. They're either one way. What do you think? When they're going to go buy, how do they buy? What would be a version of how they buy? They're skeptical. Yeah, they can be, right? Right. There's some truth to that around the anxiety piece. We'll talk about that. But when you think of a buyer, here's an example. One's a cash buyer, right? They're gonna come to the opportunity. They're gonna pay cash for it, right? And then there's some that maybe are a payment buyer. And for sure, those that are interested in that world, we're sure making it tough on them if we don't have these opportunities. But let's say we're talking to a cash buyer. Now, I grew up in the home where if you didn't pay cash for something, you didn't get it or you didn't earn it, right? That was my dad. However, if I was talking to somebody like my father in an appointment and they said, well, I'm thinking about paying cash or I'm going to pay cash, right? And let's say they volunteer that early, which is fine. most in our industry would just move on. They get to the opportunity to ask for the sale. You know, is it that day, which it was for me, or later? And the person says, no, I got to think about it. I need 3 more bids. Your price is too high. In my situation, I would say, you know, thanks for sharing that. Let's say it's my dad, Mr. Bjornson. And I would say, you know, if we had more people like you in this world, we probably wouldn't have went through 08 and 09. And I appreciate that you're looking at paying cash, but I'm going to share with you a little bit how some finance options or payment options can benefit you. And then you decide. I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't share that with you. And they're like, oh, okay. So now I've just planted a seed. I didn't put a gun to their head. I didn't put their arm behind their back. I just said, hey, here's an opportunity for you. Take it or leave. We've got a lot of customers that are taking advantage of it. That's all I'm doing, right? Because there's different types of buyers. Now, I assure you why I'm picking on the cash buyers, because we all have anxiety when we write checks, right? Every time my son comes to me and say, Dad's tuition's due, I've got anxiety about that, right? That's called separation anxiety. And it's all different for everybody. But if I could help reduce that, maybe the guy does have, maybe Mr. Bjornson has $12,000 sitting there that he or she are worried about writing that check. So I'm just going to make sure I can reduce that anxiety. And there are people that could be skeptical, but it is our job to make sure that we're engaged. So let's look at financing for a second as far as how is it relatable to other things. Now you see the nice, I think that's an F-250, 350, whatever it is, pretty nice truck. And I'm not trying to compare us to the car industry. However, I want to kind of have you think a little bit differently about how financing is valued and looked at in those industries or in that industry. In fact, there's studies that say 85, 90, 95% of car transactions, new cars, even used cars, are financed, right? But when you look at these 2 pictures, right, the beautiful home with the GAF Glenwood, which is an appreciating asset, right? And I know I'm being silly here. Outside, I guess outside of 08 and 09, right? Of course, the home is the appreciating asset. So leverage that thought process. It's a great opportunity to get what you want, because some people approach our industry, and I'm talking from the sales perspective, there's a line in your head, hey, I only sell the Timberline HDZ, I only use this, that, whatever, but maybe somebody wants to be maybe buying above that line. I also say the same thing in an insurance transaction world, which I'm very versed at, selling here in San Antonio, Texas. I know exactly what it is, but there's always the Exactimate line. We try to sell to that. Yeah, there might be some supplements behind the scene, but we really don't take it any further than that. And I'm saying, be a little more mindful about that, because it is an appreciating asset. Maybe they want to buy above the line. Have you ever bought something in your life and then found out later that there was another option or a better option, but they didn't present it to you? I know I can talk about and feel through some of those. So yeah, HVAC, Jared says HVAC industry is hugely financed. Yeah, I mean, there's some truth to that. And, you know, I think we are a little bit late to the game as an industry, maybe as you compare us to other verticals similar to us, like windows and siding, et cetera. There's no reason why we can't at least offer it and let the chips fall where they may. And that's always a good thing. And homeowners appreciate that. And if they say no at the end, you've done your job. If Mr. Cash Buyer says, yeah, I'm going to take advantage of that 0 for 12, you've done your job, right? So let's have a little exercise. Again, there's an intimate group. So I need you to go to the chat box, right? So it's super easy. Find the chat box, and I'm going to ask you this simple question. And I'm not going to pick on anybody, but what do you pay for cable, satellite, and internet, the triple pay, whatever it is in your world? What are you paying for that? Go in there and just type it in. In fact, I'll type mine in. So I'm playing. Too much, DJ, love it. So Don's 125, Tracy 200. Oh man, over 200, right, Jared? Okay. Donovan, I know you're on the call. There we go, 120. Got a couple more. So look, kind of a mixed bag, right? Let me ask you this question. When I asked you what you paid for your cable, how come y'all put it in as a kind of a monthly number? Maybe you're conditioned, right? So I'm going to do a little role play. I'm going to pick on Tracy. And Tracy, you're going to be my homeowner. You got the easy job. So let me do some math real quick. Okay. All right, here we go, Tracy. You're just going to open the door and you got the easy part, right? So knock, knock, knock.
Hello, how can I help you?
Hi, Tracy. My name is Greg with Couch Potato Cable, and I'm here to install your cable. And I need to do some things on the inside, and I've got my ladder ready. We're going to do some things on the outside. But before we get going with that, I just need a check or cash, whatever works for you, for $12,000. So then that'll cover you for the next 5 years. So how do you want to pay that? Check or cash?
Closing door.
Wait, right? Now, I know I'm kind of having fun. Thanks, Tracy. See, I told you it was easy. She got the easy part. But think about what I just did. And we do this every day to our homeowners. You know what I mean? We sticker shock them. But the cable guy, he doesn't do that. And we're talking about entertainment. And so I just think we're conditioned as consumers to be aware of payment options. And we should be leaning that way as well so they can make a decision, right? DJ says 115 only because I called twice here, find it down from 180, as you should, right? Good for you. But see, we sticker shock, and we have to kind of think through that a little bit. We have to stop doing that because people are wanting options, and you're getting no's if you're not. So let me continue on. Again, it's an appreciating asset, right? It's not an automobile, which is depreciating. We want to reduce the anxiety, right? We want to make it easy for homeowners to do business with. I'll talk about that a little bit about my plumber in a minute, and stop sticker shocking our homeowners. We do it consistently, and that's a challenge, right? It makes it hard on people. And that's why we kind of think down these roads. Now, there's other disruptions and opportunities in our industry that we have to look at. Am I going to think of it as a disruption, or am I going to change this into an opportunity? So when you see this, and this is a little bit older data, but I think it's still relevant as things aren't going backwards in this instance, is the insurance companies are changing their hail policies, right? Or their coverage policies, ACV versus RCV. I've started to see more ACV only policies here as of late, right? The increased percentage in deductibles. It's extremely challenging for those to maybe come up with those funds to make this transaction and their replacement happen, right? So you got that kind of thinking through and what's going on. But there's some wins there too. There's data that shows when you offer payment options that folks have an idea to buy more than maybe what they would have or what you would have offered, right? My Alberta market only insurance only covers the facet that is damaged, not the whole roof. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you get into these different nuances with insurance companies. Thanks, Jared. Yeah, there's some things going on and we just need to be mindful. We got to make it a little bit easier for homeowners. You'll close more sales. I already told you you're getting no's in your business today, right? They're going to your website. If there's nothing there, they're moving on. There's a no, right? And you just maybe never thought of it that way. And then here's a novelty idea. I'm going to get paid. Now, in the 10 years that I was selling in the home and I had financing involved, I always got paid. Wow, that's always a nice thing, right? Now, I still had to do my execution, set proper expectations, have a good install, do all the things that you guys do well. Still have to do that. But think of it from a sales perspective. As a salesperson, typically in our industry, the salesperson gets paid when the job is done and what? Collected. So, wow, that'll perk my ears up as a salesperson. If I can maybe have a better average ticket, I'm going to make a little more money. My homeowner gets a better roof system. That's always good, right? These are always good wins. And I know I'm probably preaching to the choir to a degree, but show me the money. If this is going to move the needle, I'm all in. And I'm not lying, cheating, or stealing to get the business. AR is reduced, not eliminated, right? We all have that to worry about, but you're going to help there because you're getting paid and cash flow is king, right? So ultimately, what does it do? It differentiates your company. Now, for those that are Master Elite and certified on the call, thank you. I appreciate that. But also here at GAF, if you're a non-cert, what I'm going to share with you a little bit later, you all have access to that as well. It differentiates your company. Again, you know, the rising tide kind of analogy, that's kind of what I'm talking about. And it's a skill set that you'll never lose. No matter what you do later in life, if it's in a sales arena, you can still have that skill set and work with it. Okay. So when do I do this, right? So I'm thinking through this. When do I do this? Well, I already said your website. It's not at the close, folks. It's never at the close, right? And some of you will say, well, I only offer financing when the homeowner asks for it. It's on your website, front and center, first page. Take a look at some of your competitors. Just Google some things when you get a chance of roofing contractors in your area or even outside your area to get an idea of who's playing and who's not. You'll find out real quick. And then even if they do offer financing, if it's buried 2 or 3 pages on the website, Okay, they're not quite thinking through this as they should on page 1. First phone call, okay? Having a conversation. You're reaching out to a homeowner to book an appointment. You know, John and Mary, I look forward to seeing you next Tuesday at 3 o'clock. We got some great payment options and some other incentives that you may qualify for. I look forward to sharing those things with you when we meet. Thanks. Click, right? You're planting a seed. Maybe if you book your own appointments or if somebody in your office do that, it's an easy little couple words, couple sentences you can drop in there. And then, of course, the sales process, not at the close, right? This is done early on. So when you have the opportunity to share that with them, they're going to be like, huh, okay, you know, I'm going to pay cash, but man, he said something about some payment options. You know, 0% for 12 months, use somebody else's money, right? And reducing anxiety. So any questions as I kind of going to transition into, you know, some of the technology piece? Anything that comes to mind? What are your thoughts? And you can even unmute your phone if you like. Go ahead. Anything from Donovan? Any questions? I'm going to pick on Donovan. No, you're doing great. Boy, I'm going to let you off the hook yet. I'll bring you in later. Do you have stage funding? Yeah, it's a great question, Don. Let's do this. Let's hold Don's question a little bit later. I'll kind of explain for those of you who don't know what stage funding is and how you can maybe leverage it in your business, but it's a great question. So we'll get into it. So what are some of the technologies out there? Now, I don't want to think of this as a GAF commercial, but I also want to make sure that you have help and you have solutions. Now, like I said in the beginning, if you're using some financial piece, local bank, credit union, regional player, big player, I'm okay with that, right? Because you're going down the right way and using that. It's all about offering it to every single customer every single time and letting them choose, right? But if you are struggling or want to do things a little different, we have at GF what is called GF Smart Money. It's really an all-in-one payment solution. So why I kind of use payment options versus saying the word financing, because it's a little bit easier story for contractors, because anytime I say the word financing, it's like another F word for everybody, and I get that. But there's a way to maybe start thinking this through like a crawl, walk, run approach. And that's what I love, what a Smart Money, as we kind of design this from financing to payment options. So what it is it really simply credit cards, checks, and financing. If anything, I know this is segmented in everybody's business, meaning, oh, I really don't have a check. Well, I got a check process. I pick up the check or I have the check and I drive it to the bank. Okay, well, it's not really efficient, but there's a story behind how that could be, and I'll share that. But credit cards, right? Some do, some don't, but these are still a part of payment options. And if you start there, the great thing about Smart Money, it actually houses everything into one easy, simple tool, right? Because I know it's segmented in everybody's business, right? Well, I got a credit card processor. I think I'm getting a good deal. He said I was getting a good deal, right? How about invoicing? I said earlier, I had something about a plumber. I just had some work done at the house. A plumber, he come by, did what he did. He literally laid the invoice on the counter and says, just pay me by check when you get a chance. And he left. I don't even know where an envelope or a stamp is in my house, to be honest with you. So I'm like, now I got to go do some work, right? When maybe electronic invoicing with a payment option in there, or to pay via credit card or even a check, would be a better way. That's what people want nowadays. Make it easy for them, right? There's Pay Now. You can have that on your website. All this stuff gets housed under one thing. So I'm thinking through payment options. How can I do this? Well, think through checks and credit cards. And if anything, you could start there. That's what I encourage folks to do, because the element of financing is built in. So what's the big story about maybe credit cards and checks? Well, I think we're a little bit more used to credit card readers than we have, the little square things of that nature, right? We've all had the experience. Now you're bringing that into the home. Let's say you're going to collect John and Mary's. You finished the job, you're going to inspect and collect, right? Having this little Bluetooth reader, or having them be aware that, the reason we do this is to protect your, financial information, because, I'm not going to call this credit card number into the office or write it on a napkin, which we've done, right? Me included back in the day. It's a little bit different, secure story. What about a check, right? Think about a check. Well, what's on a check? Routing and account number. About the efficiencies of maybe imaging a check on site, handing them the check back and say, yeah, we want to give you this back. It secures your information. This is how we do that process. I assure you, we've lost checks in our industry. In fact, I lost 4 in one day. How? Operations manager was going to check out on a couple jobs, get payment, had 4 checks in his little binder in his truck, stopped in somewhere, truck got broken into and 4 checks were stolen. Now, does this happen every day? No. But my point with that is this, man, if I would have had this technology, I'm not making those 4 phone calls to say, hey, John and Mary, do you mind writing me another check? I promise you I won't lose this one. So those are the types of things when you think about adopting some of these technologies. If it's smart money or not, again, that's completely up to you. So that's when you want to share these things with the homeowners. You're absolutely right, Jared. It is payment options. It's not saying, hey, I got financing, because there's negative connotations to that word. And what we do at Smart Money, I'll show you kind of how we support that. But in the platform, there's Green Sky, service financing, coming soon as Wells Fargo. Don asked about stage funding. Green Sky has the ability to stage fund. So let's say I'm doing a project for 10 grand and you're requiring some money down. Let's say you require, I don't know, 20% down. And, you know, some do, some don't. It doesn't matter. I did in my business. I always asked for money down and care if it was insurance work or not. We just got it, right? It kind of cemented that opportunity. Well, if they don't have the funds, right, it's really kind of hard to do a down payment. But in stage funding, you can get some of that money up front. The clock is ticking on the financing piece, but you've got your 2 grand. And then when the job's completed, then you can get the remainder. So that's kind of what stage funding is. And we can always take that offline if you have further ideas. Service finance doesn't have that option in there. But again, the cool thing with multiple lenders in a platform is when I don't have multiple, you know, logins and passwords, et cetera. But it also, you know, gives you the ability to have a second look. And Smart Money has that as well. So let's say these players on the left don't approve, you have the ability to potentially have a second look in a little bit different situation to maybe still get them some financing, right? Still a paperless process. It's about a story. It's not about, again, if you have Square and you've got a process for your checks that you image already and you got a finance or a lender, I love you, right? Continue that mantra. But this kind of packages it all into one so you can kind of see what's going on in the back of the house. Here's some of the things that some of our contractors are saying. Efficiencies, workflow, cash flow, right? Here's a guy that lost a check. So these things happen and they're out there. And this is why I really like what this brings to the table. Social distancing, right? Look at what we've been through the last 8-9 months with what's going on. Gosh, almost a year, I guess. You can have this ability to collect payment and send invoicing and have the ability for a homeowner to engage with you that way. Customizable web button. Again, I was talking about earlier, you can have these things, your colors, your logo, your own payment button. This is all done in this tool to help you be a little bit different than others in the business. So let's cut to the chase, right? And then we're going to open it up some questions, right? What is Smart Money and what does it cost, right? Well, we kind of went through the what it is, kind of to a degree, but there's no surcharges, cancellation fees, etc. It's basically pay by the drink. So what does that mean? On the Smart Money landing page, etc., you're going to see, here's what it priced out, right? Now, sometimes I'll say, you know, how's your credit card processing? And inevitably, I've done this enough times where I have contractors say to me, oh, I'm only getting charged 1.4 for credit card processing. And I know that the interchange rate, just with nothing on the back end, is more than that. So I know there's entities out there that want you to kind of believe one thing. And then when your statement comes in, it's very confusing. And then they're thinking, oh, I'm still getting a good thing because that's what the person said. This is basically upfront pricing. You know what exactly it is, no hidden fees. And okay, so you look at a check. Well, $1 to process a check, I'm okay with that. If I can image a check, share the story with the homeowners that, hey, here's why we do this. Again, these are payment options, right? And the story about securing that information. And then I don't have to run back all the way back to the office and drop off a check when I can go see another customer. That's efficiency, right? That's what I'm talking about. And then you've got other lenders, and the lender costs are per rate sheet. And, you know, we can always help you out with that. But think through kind of how that can help you keep it all under one, you know, dashboard and efficiency. So let's watch a little video. I'm going to press play. Hopefully you can hear this. And then this kind of is a kind of a recap. So let's watch this real quick.
GAF Smart Money, powered by Payzer. This simple software helps contractors improve collections, increase their use of financing, and grow revenues using online and mobile credit card acceptance, check imaging, instant paperless financing. GAF Smart Money's simple mobile app allows contractors to take payments in the field in a variety of ways. With GAF Smart Money, it's easy to process a credit card, take an image of a check, draft from a homeowner's bank account, or send an electronic invoice to a homeowner. GAF Smart Money also makes it easy to take payments online using a simple web button you can put on your website in minutes. And GAF Smart Money makes it incredibly easy for contractors to offer financing. We offer multiple lenders, including first and second look, with loans up to $100,000, and a simple in-app loan calculator that clearly spells out monthly payments for the homeowner and all costs for the contractor. With our paperless financing process, homeowners get a credit decision in under 1 minute. GAF Smart Money also makes it easy to set up recurring payments for maintenance customers. GAF Smart Money, powered by Payzer. Improve business operations, grow sales, and get paid faster.
So I'm going to drop in this link real quick. Copy that. So again, if you ever want to get further information, we've partnered with a company called Payzer out of South Carolina that actually is the engine behind Smart Money. And they have a whole team that just answers questions. You can get linked up with this. There's no obligation. I'm just saying if you're maybe needing to tighten things up, maybe you want a little bit more efficiency, this could be potentially a way to do it, right? And then they can set up some time with you and answer your questions in more detail. But that's kind of what that is from that perspective. Here's the team at Payzer. They're dedicated to GF contractors. Again, this is open to non-certified contractors as well, right? Again, we believe raising the tide, right? You know, you get that analogy, and that's what we're talking about. But what questions maybe pop up? We talked about the why, right? We talked about some of the vernacular. I love that somebody said payment options, right? That's kind of that mantra that I would use if I was in the home today. Versus, hey, we got some great financing, right? Because there can always be a little pushback there. And think of it this way, that if I'm offering payment options and it is happen to be financing, and let's say, because I get this every once in a while, a contractor will say, well, I don't believe in financing. I don't believe in putting them into financial debt. Okay. I appreciate when folks say that. In fact, there's probably a lot of other good things that are going on in your business that are kind of around the core of who you are and how you think of things like that. But at the end of the day, it's not your house and it's not your decision, and it's an appreciating asset. And if somebody bought something above the line that had a better warranty, better underlayment, the full system, right? The whole thing, right? Bought the Glenwood shingle, one is their decision, and it's a better system, right? It's not like I offered financing and gave them less, right? Gave them options, right? Back to the cable guy. What are some questions that are maybe kind of sticking out there? And again, I know we have a smaller group, so don't feel like you can't unmute your phone and ask a question. Anything out there? Tracy, anything that I'm missing? What we got? Tracy says here. On the second look financing, what is the low score that we consider? You know, it's a great question. So she was kind of going back to when you saw the name Fortiva that's at least built into Smart Money. A couple of things before, you know, so before I came on to GAF, almost 6 years ago, I had my A player and then had a local credit union that kind of dealt with some little banged up stuff. So I had the same kind of thought process as what Smart Money does. But back to what is it, FICO score and stuff like that? It's really not published from that perspective. You know, is it 580? Is it 560? I think it's really hard to answer that, other than about 35% of what gets turned down. So let's say I'm a 70% pull through on my A player option, which is good. That's where you should be. If you ever get anything lower than that, it's because you're picking and choosing who you're offering financing to. And then you're going to get into a streak of where people that maybe have some banged up credit. When you offer it across the board, you'll get 70, 75% pull through. My point is that 30% that didn't get approved that go into the second look, about 35% to 40% of those get approved. So, I mean, it's better than zero, right? Because if you don't go down that road, you may never have the opportunity to close that opportunity and get them a roof. So it's a great question. Don, do you have a place to sign up for this service, and where do you go to sign up? The link that I just put in the chat box, I'll do it again. That just takes you to our landing page. And all that is that you'll click in there, you fill out some information, and all you're doing is connecting to our folks at Payzer that will just answer questions. They'll find out about your business. What are you looking for? How can we help? They'll even help you if you proceed to get this process going. They'll even help you on how to manage the costs, right? You heard that's Doug Little, who's the president and CEO of Payzer in the video, talking about, what does it cost me to get paid and how do I manage that? And there's a couple different ways, or maybe I blend it in across all my pricing, or maybe I do it by transaction. So they help you with that. Yeah, good. I'm glad I answered that. Anything else that's top of mind? You've got me, so go ahead and ask. I'm here for you. Well, if not, that's okay too. If something pops up, like I said in the beginning, there's the ability for those that are certified and or master elites here with GAF. We want to make sure that we recognize and capture that you attended our time together. And these are for training credits, right? So you should be familiar with what that is. There's really 3 ways to register. Pull out the phone, take a picture, or hold your phone over the QR. You can do that on the left. Second one is you can put in let me copy this. The address, let me drop that in the chat box. You can do it this way. Oh yeah, thanks Tracy, I appreciate that. And then or else you can text, to 56512 and then that information there. And that'll take you to basically this information. So you want to be recognized for taking this as far as training credits. And we will make sure you're aware of that for those that are certified and non-certified. If you're non-certified with GAF, I know we have Donovan on the phone that really was integral part, or on the webinar that was integral part of putting these things and connecting us here with Tracy and the group, but he'd love to talk to you as well. But any other questions? DJ asked, thank you. Okay, appreciate that, I do, right? Again, how deep can you go in half hour to 40 minutes, right? Again, if I can plant some seeds, if you're doing some good things right now, that's awesome. Try to think of how you can maybe be better and keep on asking, folks, we have some great payment options and let me share with you how that works. And maybe at the time when you ask the business, it's as simple as this. John and Mary, it's 10 grand or 180 a month. Which one works best for you? And you do this. You do that, you're coming a long way. And again, back to what you asked for, you just might get it. Anything else, Tracy, as we kind of wrap up our time?
I don't see any more questions. We have still quite a few people here. Anybody else have any questions you want to type in? DJ.
I have a cell phone. I will do that, DJ. I know he's been spending too much time up at that lovely cabin he's got, right? No, I'm just busting you, Donovan. Lovely work that you do in that. But yeah, Donovan's a great guy, obviously, and he does great work. And I have a huge appreciation for all our territory managers at GAF. I know how hard they work, especially as times have been here lately with trying to get product. And hang in there with us. We're going to do this and get us through back to kind of this payment option world. Now's the time, right? Now is the time to hone and sharpen those skills around this thing, because as it might be a little cyclical this time of year, we're going to get into the busy season, and where is your mind share going to be? It's going to be doing business, and you're not going to think through this. So time is now is how I want to say. There he goes. Get a hold of Donovan. He'll help you out. There's his cell phone number. He's going to help you out in any way he can. So Tracy, I'll turn it back to you. I'll hang out for a minute, but thank you everybody. And you guys have a great day.
Hey, thanks everybody for coming, and thank you Greg and GAF and Donovan and for presenting this great smart money program for us. I'm sure that will be really helpful for many people. We are also recording this, and it will be on our YouTube channel to refer back to in about 3 weeks. And in the meantime, we have another Lunch and Learn on the 16th at 11 a.m. And that will be our Safety Director, Jennifer Richards, and she will be talking about requirements for your competent person on your job site. So look forward to seeing everyone again. And again, thank you so much, Greg. This was great information, and we really appreciate you taking the time out for our RCAW family.
My pleasure. You guys be safe out there, and we'll get through 2021. Hopefully it's an amazing year versus what we just went through. So thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day, guys.